bentonite grout for the geo, and then they've got their graphite. Graphite heat helps with the heat transfer, and he was telling me it helps bond everything together. Originally I used to use sand. Here you can see we got our geo lines, and then we've got the grout pump that's pumped this goes all the way down to the bottom. And as they keep pumping this stuff in, they'll pull this hose out, they'll remove the casing, heat shrink these shut, which they pretty much already are. They'll get all their wells in, and later on we'll tee all this together to run back into the house. Kind of hear it starting to pump through. See that line moving? They're pumping that mixture of grout and graphite in. There's their 8-inch drill heads, so that's their drill heads, so that way they can get their casing in. And then once they get below their casing line, depending on what the ground's like in those locations, they transfer it to the 6-inch drill head. Footings in. It's the total station. Finally starting to get some joist in. We have quite a bit of steel that they had to pack out for joists. So these joists run this way, these joists run this way. PL glue underneath all the plates. of the guys, I like to allow my stem an 1/8 inch lower, so that way by the time you get your sill sealer in, your plate that's like 1 9/16 instead of 1.5 inches, it allows you to have that flusher transition, so that way your sheathing isn't like ramping up in the corners. We don't have a stem everywhere. What I mean by a stem is we have a joist shelf here, then we've got a top stem wall for our wall, and then I even had them add a vapor barrier on all the concrete surface of that stem. Beautiful morning out here. Got the pump truck out, framers working. Just had some more steel delivered. Site guys are backfilling, geothermal. Getting some warehouse joist material in. The LSL timber strands, truss joists. So, these were originally spec'd 16-inch on center, doubles, and Weyerhaeuser recommended doing 12 inches on center, and we went with a 3.5-inch joist in this location. So that way we have as little deflection as possible for the most stable floor. Yeah, here's our joist plan. We went through a couple little revisions, and we're actually going to put our rim board in between because we want full bearing on our stem wall locations, which not everywhere is a stem wall. Like this area too as well. You can see right here, we're going to end up adding in the blocking after. So then the way you read these, you got your TS7s. Go to your chart right here, you can see TS7, you can see your lengths, which we verified in our review process in the beginning. They give us our quantities and stuff like that. The other thing we are looking at is vent locations. So we actually have a floor plan location for all of our vents, so we actually space these out a little bit here, same thing here, so that way we can keep our vents centered on our future windows in these areas. So luckily have all those layouts ahead of time to make sure everything's accounted for, and even on the second floor later we'll be looking at that with light locations, all of our vents on the second floor coming out of the ceiling, so when we get to ceiling joists we'll look at that. In our basement area we're going to do Chicago grid, which will be ceiling hanging below, so that way we have our ductwork roughed in. A lot of pre-thinking. So we got glue in the bottom of our hangers to prevent any squeaks. It's nice, we got face mounted hangers here. I'm not a fan of top mounted hangers. You can't get your heights spot on, and that little top mounted bracket can create a little hump. So